Minutes late, had some technical Wi-Fi issues, but here we are, another live stream of Fix My Style. So last week I talked about the virtual backgrounds, how to set up um, a good backdrop for any kind of video conferences if you're on the move and sort of have to work with what you have, like myself here. Still displays to my kids' media room, but yeah, we work with what we have. So today I want to take it a step further and talk about you, ourselves in this setup as well, uh, and video conferencing or online, really in any type, shape, or form. Or on screen, I should say anytime that you record something or you go live or you do a reel or any of that, this will apply because this is something I get asked a lot uh, from my clients. What do I wear? How much makeup do I have? Can I wear glasses? All of those things. And what it really boils down to is the question of contrast. So we talked about, yes, you placing yourself in the center of the screen last time, which is, of course, important. But we want to look at the contrast between you and also your environment. So, what is contrast? Contrast is the relationship between your skin and your hair in a person. So, myself, I'm a low contrast person. I have light hair, fairly light skin, which means they're very similar color wise. That gives me a low contrast. High contrast would be someone like Snow White, very light skin, very dark hair. And when you have a lower contrast, you get a little more washed out, especially on screen. So it's important to think about emphasizing or increasing your contrast when you go on screen. I mean, it's good to increase your contrast at any time, but especially on screen because it has a tendency of washing us out. So one of the first things I get asked is about clothing. What do I wear on screen? And again, of course, it depends on your contrast level and also your background's contrast level. So I'm going to share a picture of you. I'm taking myself as the subject today. So what you should wear, so you've probably heard people talk about no patterns when you're on screen, and it's true to a certain degree. You don't want to have a pattern that has a tendency to move, and you can see visually sometimes they move a little when they are kind of recorded or filmed. So you don't want to do any patterns that have a tendency of doing that. But also, if you're working with bold, contrasted patterns, it very easily can take away from you. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to share my screen and show you right here a very lovely picture. This is me uh, with very pattern top. So a lot of things going on. There's also a lot of things going on in the background, which makes it clash a little bit. You have the patterns in the background, you have the patterns on the top. You're the last thing you see is my face. I get very washed out. I also don't have any makeup here because that's the other thing we're going to talk about. So you get me all natural. But this way, we do have a test as image consultants that I'm gonna spill the beans on. It's called the blink test. So if you look at something that has a strong pattern, you can look at yourself in the mirror. If you look at the pattern, look at yourself, look at this picture, and then blink. And then what is it you kind of see on the inside of your lids as you close your eyes? What is etched on there? Is it the pattern that you kind of stays on your retina? Is it in that case, the pattern is too strong. The pattern is the thing that's going to stand out the most. If it is the face of the person, perfect. We have contrasted it out well. So that is the blink test, and that will tell you if something is too strong or too or right, the right contrast level. All right, so when it comes to patterns, think about your own contrast level and also what is going on in the backdrop. Is everything fighting? Because really, we want to make sure people see your face, right? And that's the whole point of being on screen. Otherwise, you might as well take the camera off, or go with your sitting image there. But so we want to make sure that contrast, the clothing is not taking over from your face. Then let's go into makeup, because as I told you, I was au naturel. And this is another thing, especially during the pandemic when we spent a lot of time on screen. This is something that people ask me about all the time. Do I have to wear makeup on screen? I don't want to have to put my face on. And of course, this is a question for the ladies. But I will say, again, it's a personal choice. But if you want to increase your contrast a little bit, yes, there are a few super quick things I think you should do before you jump online. And it's all to make sure we have increased your contrast and make sure people see your face. And really, the two things that you can forego all others, but the two things I think you should think about are your eyebrows, because they are the frame of the eyes, and your lips, because you want to make sure people pay attention when you talk, but it also is going to balance out your eyebrows. When you have those two things, eyebrows and lips, a little marked, that will increase your contrast, and it will also make sure people look at your face. You can skip, and the good thing about videos or our cameras, they're not, even if they're good cameras, they're not going to show everything. So you don't have to worry so much about foundations and powders and all that stuff. It's not that big a deal. Eyebrows, lips, if you go for that, you can forego the others. I like to do a little eyeliner too, to make sure that you really focusing on the eyes. But that also leads me to the next thing I want to talk about today, the third thing, glasses. If you wear glasses and if you need to read on screen, of course you need to wear your glasses. But this is for the men, especially when you have glasses that have a little bit of a contrast or a little bit of a more significant frame, that will increase your contrast as well. So for men, that is, instead of makeup, that is where you go. Make sure to increase or do a frame that has a little thicker frame, or a little more contrast. That will make sure people look at your face. And for women, makeup kind of disappears, eye makeup, when you're wearing glasses. So if you want to cheat, not put on makeup, or only do eyebrows and maybe quick lip, put on the glasses. Then the eye makeup doesn't really matter. Now, with glasses, this is important to think about, because if you have ring lights like I do, look at that. You will see the light reflect right in those glasses. I know there are anti-glare ones now. These are obviously not. These are just readers. But a way to come around that is just to slightly angle them. Then I can look straight ahead. So just slightly raise them a little tiny bit in the back. That way the angle of the lens is not going to be as noticeable with ring light, because you do want that light in front of you. So that's one way. Or just be aware and maybe move your light slightly over so it's not hitting straight across, because that can be very, very hard to look at for other people if someone gets a glare of your light. So just be aware of that. Or if you want to cheat, just have frames. Skip. No one's going to see if you have glasses in your glasses or in your lenses. You can just wear frames, lensless frames, just to wear online. If you're like me, I never used to have to wear glasses, and I always wanted it because it increased my contrast. I should just get some that have just the frames. So that my friends, is a little bit of how to solve the contrast issues and how to make sure that you pop when you're on the screen, not just your background, but you as well. I hope you found that helpful. And please send me your questions, your issues you need fixes with, if it's personal style or interior style, or some makeup tips. I do that as well, or I will bring on experts that know everything about it. So don't be shy, send it in. I'm sure if the problem has come up for you, it has come up for other people as well. So let's just help each other. All righty. Great to see you. Remember, as always, chic happens. And until next week, bye bye.